Oh, hey there. Welcome back. Yeah, so this is the second episode of my beam swap that actually hasn't the swap hasn't started yet, but I'm getting there. Don't worry. Just wanted to preface this. It's going to be very short, but today I'm going to be exploring some different alternator options. I start out with trying to fit a 7M alternator, and I don't explain that at all. So now you know. At first, I tried to use a 7M alternator. One more thing. There's another rant. That is, I'm just going to be honest. I rant about things. It just happens. It's toward the end of the video. I even put a little warning before it's about to happen. So if you're not interested in hearing me rant about the problems with another bit of Xcessive Manufacturing's products, you can skip it. Or not. Up to you. All right. Now on to the video. Here is a close-up of it. As you can see, definitely bolts there. It's so close on the top. I'm really not sure what I want to do. That's not true. I know what I want to do. I'm not sure if it's the smartest move. I could modify this bracket a little, but because an alternator is a consumable, and this is absolutely not a new alternator that would be going on here. Obviously, it's better than this, Frankenstein's monster thing going on over here that doesn't even spin. But I don't think I want to modify the bracket because I'm guessing it probably does fit a JZ1 a little bit better, at least up here. But man, I don't really want to buy like a Remand Denso alternator, but I might do that just purely for like reliability's sake. And if I don't modify this bracket, then I can just kind of keep getting the same alternator and not having to like modify an alternator or do all that, because I would have had to kind of change the pins on this one as well, which wouldn't have been like a super big deal. But like if I'm standing on the side of the road and need an alternator, I couldn't just go into a parts store and get a JZ one like no problem. And just kind of, I'd have to like repin and do all that. So I think I'm leaning towards getting so much for this being like super budget, but I think I'm leaning towards doing kind of the right thing for future me, because past me usually fucks future me. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna bite the bullet and get a new alternator. But because of that, I don't know when I'm gonna do that, because that's quite a bit of money. And I don't have a lot of money right now. I got a lot to think about. Been working on the sort of replacement bracket. I alluded to this earlier. I talked about it, I think. How the intake used to be braced with the factory cast aluminum big mama, but this doesn't fit a JZ alternator. And that's what I'm switching to, purely to make it kind of easier on myself, and the fact that mine got destroyed. So that's my beams alternator that came with the engine. So I figured going with a JZ would make a lot more sense, especially if I'm in the middle of nowhere and my alternator gives out. I can just go to freaking AutoZone anywhere and just get one for like a GS300 or something. It'll just make my life a little bit easier. In this photo, you can see the space where basically I need to build the bracket. You can see the part hanging down from the intake on the left, and then I need to figure out how to mount that going towards the right. This is another view. This is kind of looking at it from the side, and here's it started. I just start with a piece of cardboard, cut it up, simple. This is just another shot of that. And then you just kind of trim it down, put holes in it, make it line up. It's very, very simple. And then trace it on some metal. Pretty easy. So I started with some classic CAD. Kind of show how it fits up in there. A little something like that. It looks pretty cool. It'll be functional though, so that's good. So I transferred that on over to some metal, and here it is so far. In the past, I've just put it in the vise and just hammered it, but it's not a super sharp turn, and it doesn't look amazing, especially when you have all the hammer marks and stuff. So I'm gonna try something different this time. Doing some relief cuts at the bends where they should be. And I'm going to, well, I'm still gonna use the vise to try and bend it, but I'm hoping it should be a much tighter radius. And then I'm gonna do something a little bit because I think it does look a little ridiculous and it is quite heavy. Doesn't need to be this heavy. So I'm going to lighten it up a little bit afterwards and just make it look a little better because it's kind of ugly in my opinion. Got the holes drilled in it. So now I'm gonna try and bend it, see how that goes. It went well. Yeah, holes line up really well. I can do this one-handed. Yeah. I made this relief cut a little too far in, so I am gonna have to do another one, but not a big deal. Looks okay though. Ooh. Ah. So change of plans. I ended up just using studs instead. I think it looks better. That's how it was originally for that exact spot. You can see it lines up pretty much perfectly. So now I'm just gonna mark where that hole needs to go, drill it out, put in a riv nut, and then the kind of structure of the whole thing should be done. And then I'll do kind of the cutout here and then weld all that. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. So I just did a real quick tack weld on that nut. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I thought you said you were going to use a riv nut. Why is it now suddenly tack welded? Well, figured out the riv nut was going to stick out and it was going to push it, and it's not what I wanted, and it's a lot easier to just tack a nut on there and it will last longer. And yeah, everything lines up great. Very happy. Even that's like almost perfectly straight. It's awesome. Yeah, just gonna throw another couple tacks on the back of that. And then try and weld up these gaps. So I got it welded up. You can see welds aren't amazing. It's been a while since I welded, but they're okay. The bottom ones were just tests, since I didn't actually do anything with that. But it fits. I'm still gonna trim all this and everything, but bolted it up. It didn't warp too much because of the welding process, and it looks to be pretty much ready. Fits really well. I will still be modifying the top of that because it's quite ugly, but I think it turned out pretty good. Looks nice. You can see it here now without the intake on. Yeah, like I said, weld's not the best, but they should work. Marky, Marky. Cuddy, Cuddy. So here's the aftermath. killed so many Dremel abrasive wheels. Yeah, I don't have the right tools for what I'm currently trying to do, but I think it turned out pretty good. So, familiar sight, right? Back on the engine, but here it is. I think that looks pretty slick. Now, it's not perfectly straight in terms of like the cutout and all that. I did my best with what I have, but yeah. I now have a brace, which took me, well, a fair amount of time, when Xcessive could have, just done their homework and added a brace. Maybe not to their bracket, but maybe as like an add-on, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks or something. Because like, I don't know, whatever. You've heard me rant enough about Xcessive, but I think I'm good for the night. I'm really happy with the progress. I know I've said that a couple of times, but I love making little brackets and stuff. It's fun. I did a terrible job. I didn't record any of this, but I decided that I wanted to brace the brace a little bit more than it was. So I just cut out some triangles, welded them in. I didn't even take finished pictures. Then this is like 6 months later. I have 0 finished pictures of it. So yeah. Got my Remand Denso alternator for the beams. Just to kind of reiterate, this is a JZ alternator. I specifically got one for a GS 300, 1998, I believe. So let's see if it fits any better. So got it out of the box, and all right, so I made a slight mistake. I think the Xcessive mount does actually fit. All the complaining that I did previous about having to shave it down, I believe, is because of this insert that actually makes it stick up further. According to the measurements online, comparing it to the JZ one, it is identical in terms of the thickness, but I think this is enough that makes the difference because as you can see, actually, is this the right side? No, that is the wrong side. Yeah, so as you can see, this does not have that. And I have a feeling, which I'm going to test in just a moment, it will fit just fine. One thing I'm not a huge fan of, where did I put that? There it is. So this is the included top bolt. I don't like how that's not actually like the right size. There's no sleeve or anything to go in there. So I'm not a huge fan of that. But yeah. All right, let's try and fit it out, see how it does. All right, another fucking rant about fucking Xcessive manufacturing. So take a look at that. Yeah, there's a nice gap. So this fit perfectly fine until I put this fucking piece of shit adapter on to run a different freaking alternator. And it's because it's hitting. It's just like, I'm so fucking over Xcessive. It's just constant. They go about 80% of the way. And they're like, oh, yep, all right, take it to market. This is absolutely terrible. Whatever. All right, I could lie and say that I calmed down, but I really haven't. So, as you can see, it contacts the cover, which isn't the end of the world if you already have this installed, but it is pushing against this. It's putting pressure, and I don't know about you, I don't really want to buy another one of these things purely because this piece of metal is putting force on this really fragile old piece of Japanese plastic. So I'm gonna notch this. This is yet just another thing. Like, you should be able to remove your front cover without cracking things, without removing your damn alternator. Like, Toyota knew how to do this. Xcessive, if you would just take that extra 20% and like actually work and fix your stuff after you release it, because this is not acceptable. Why do you do this? All right, I'm just ranting at this point. Whatever. So if anybody needed proof, I'm not just an Xcessive hater for zero reasons. You can see, like, all these bolts have been removed. There is nothing holding this in anymore. Except, look at this. Look how much force. And it's all because it's stuck on this stupid bracket. It's like, oh yeah, you know, gotta do my timing belt. Let me remove my front timing cover and all that kind of stuff. Oh, let me also remove my fucking alternator. Piece of shit. So, bracket's now removed. Watch this. Wow. That's how that should go. So, it's a couple minutes with a grinder. You can see, it's not clean, but, you know, just a tiny notch. Could make it bigger. I might. But here, I'll show you. It fits. It doesn't fit perfectly, but at least, so it goes on, right? But then you notice, oh, it's getting kind of caught over here. You kind of have to do this side first and kind of get this lip right here, the little lip that's behind there. That's gonna be the main kind of problem. But as long as you get that in, and you just kind of work your way around, and it will go in. It's hard to do one-handed, but there's like a little spot where it just kind of sloop, and it just slides right on. Let's see if I can get this. Yep, there it is, just like that. You can see, so it's flush. Everything's lining up. Yeah. And you can see, it's even flat against everything, exactly how it should be. And it comes off, it's still kind of a little tricky. You have to kind of wiggle it and kind of pop this part out, and then it does come off. But like, why should I have to deal with this? Spent like $180 on this stupid bracket. Well, take my word for it. It does come off. It's just a little bit of a bitch. All right, now you're making me look like a liar. There it comes. All right, so I did go back, do a little bit more. I actually ended up going up a little bit higher. You can see it's not like a ton, but if you watch, let's see if I can do this one-handed. Look at that. It fits, like just like that. Done. And then watch this. This shouldn't be hard, right? Okay, I'm gonna take my front timing off. I'm gonna leave my alternator on though, because I'm a normal person. Whoa. Whoa. That was hard. Fuck Xcessive.
Like I said